Hello, my name is Jimena Abraham del Rio and I'm going to talk about ethnography of communication. Okay, uh, Himes defined the principal concerns in the ethnography of communications. We can see that there are various concerns, and for example, they study the patterns and functions, nature and definition of speech community, means of communicating, components of communicative competence, relationship of language to worldview and social organization, and linguistic and social universal and inequalities. Okay, the first one we are going to talk about patterns of communication. Himes identified the pattern as a key motivating factor in his establishment of the ethnography. The ethnographers are concerned with how communicative units are organized and how they patterns of way of speaking. In this image, we can see all that the patterns occurs at all levels of communication. We can see the social, group, and individual. We're going to see one of that level. For example, in the social level, the communications are patterns that we can see in functions, categories of talk, and attitudes and conception about language and speakers. Also, in this social level, we have according to particular roles and groups within a society such as sex, age, social status, and occupation. Also, we can see the ways of speaking pattern according to the educational level, rural or urban residence, geographic region, and other features of social organization. Another one is the communicative functions. We can see what means social level. In this section, we can see that in this level, language serves many functions. For example, here in Mexico, we were conquered with the Spanish people, and the Spanish language is now in Mexico. So this is a function, a communicative function in our country. Is that the language selections often relates to political goals, and also functioning to create of reinforced boundaries in order to unify speakers as members of a single speech community. Also, we can see in the level, for example, individual and group, we can see this function in categories as expressive, for example, when we are going to talk about feelings or emotions. Also directive, that means requesting or demanding. Preferential, that means true or false propositional content. Poetic, that means aesthetic. Fatigue, that means empathy and solidarity. And metalinguist, that we can talk about the language itself. Another function is in the social or practice of language provides the primary dimension of categorizing and organizing community communicative process and products in a society. Okay, in this slide, we are going to see about a speech community. This is an important thing that the ethnography of communication studies. Okay, linguistics are in agreement that the speech community cannot be equated with a group of people who speak the same language. Language often serves to maintain the separate identity of a speech community within largest community of which their speakers may also be members. Um, the another one is the community competence. That means that involves knowing not only the language code, but also to say to whom, how to say it properly in any given situation. This concept is one of the most powerful organizing tools to emerge in the social science in recent years. Also, the communicative competence extends to both knowledge and expectation of who may or may not speak in certain settings, when to speak and when to remain silent, to whom one may speak, how one may talk to persons of different status and roles, what nonverbal behaviors are appropriate in basic context, what the routines for turn-taking are in conversation, how to ask for and give information, how to request, how to offer or decline assistance or cooperation, and how to give commands, etc. All aspects of cultures are relevant to communication, but those that have the most direct bearing on communicative forms and process are the social and the institutional structure, the values and attitudes held about language and ways of speaking, the network of conceptual categories which results from experience, and the ways knowledge and skill are transmitted from one generation to the next one. Okay, in this area we can see that the ethnographers has a completely different perspective. In this list that we are going to see, indicates the range of linguistic, interactional, and cultural phenomena which must be accounted for in an adequate description and explanation of communicative competence. We are going to see in the next slides, okay, are linguistic knowledge, interaction skills, and cultural knowledge. In the linguistic knowledge, we can see verbal elements, non-verbal elements, patterns of elements, in particular speech events, a range of possible variants in all elements and their organization, and meaning of variants in particular situations. Uh, in interaction skills, we can see the perception and silent features in communicative situations, selection and interpretation of forms appropriate to a specific situation, role, and relationships. For example, the rules for the use of speech. The another one is the discourse organizations and process, norms of interaction and interpretation, and strategies for achieving goals. And the last one, in cultural knowledge, we can see a social structure, for example, the status, power, speaking, rights. Also, we can see values and attitudes, cognitive maps, schemata, and the sculpturation process that means is the transmission of knowledge and skills. In the community competence, we can see that the ethnography of communication refers to communicative knowledge and skills shared by a speech community, but this aspect of culture resides in the variability and its individual members. We can see that the competence of incompetence, part of the communicative competence is being able to sound appropriately incompetent in a language when the situation dictates. For example, where we are, me as a teacher, when I'm talking with a student, Sometimes I need to use a language that mm, doesn't require too much of the rules and structure, grammar structure. I don't know if you understand. I need to stay in the level of the student. I understand that this is the competence of competence. Okay, so right now we are going to see the units of analysis. In this in this slide, we can see that Haim suggests three units to describe and analyze the communication: the situation, the event, and the act. In the context, we can see many examples. For example, um, in the communicative situation, we can see, for example, the religious service, a court trial, a holiday party, an auction, a train ride, or a class in school. In this kind of situation, we can say that they same even with a change of location. Always we are that always is going to happen, okay? Even if we can change the place. And also, as when a commit meeting or court trial reconvenes in different cities, or it may change in the same location if very different activities go on there at different times. In the community, event is the basic unit for descriptive purpose. For example, in this, we can see a single event is defined by a unified set of components throughout, beginning with the same general purpose of communication. We can see the same topic, the same participants, and using the same language, and, all, and also maintaining the same tone or key and the same rules of for interaction in the same setting. And the last one is the communicate event. If there is no change in major participant and setting, the boundary between events is often marked by a period of silence and perhaps a change in body position. And the last one is the communicative act. It's generally continuous with a single interactional function, for example, in a request, a command, or maybe either verbal or not verbal. In a context of a communicative act, even the silence may be an intentional and conventional communicative act and used to a question, promise, deny, warn, insult, request, or command. We can this part we saw it in the last activity with the video of TDX. We saw a conversation um, of a couple that fighting, well, not fighting, but they use a tone and even the silence uh, give us um, that the girl was upset, and I can see this in that example in the TDX presentation in the last class. The study as speech acts within linguistic theory is the basis for this level of analysis, but must be extended to account for a broader range of phenomena within the ethnography of communication and to allow for possible difference with regard to what segments and language are considered basic functional units by members of different speech communities. And that's it. That means all this the ethnography of communication. Thank you very much.